G'day coppers, Cyanara here with another crazy koala cast for COH2. Just put another shrimp on the barbie and beers are in the esky, so crack one open while we wait and let's check out a game. Today's match is a pretty special one. Not only is it my first 2v2 to cast, but also the first request I've received. Guess somebody out there is actually watching these things then. Jolly good. Now, 2v2s can get a bit busy and it's hard to capture every moment even in a 1v1, but let's see how we go. This here is a pretty high level match. These players range from about top 200 for 2v2 randoms all the way up to top 10. If any of the names stand out to you, it's probably at least Cruzz, that mystical sage of all things COH2 stat related, and creator of COH2, which I must test out sometime. Today's fight is on Moscow Outskirts Winter. Particularly open map with not a huge amount of cover. However, its large size means that flanking is always still entirely possible. Fuel points, pretty highly contested over on these sides here. Generally see both large battles and some sneaky scout capping, thanks to them being so far away from the base. And each one also has a fairly vulnerable cutoff that we'll probably see attacked. Probably the largest battles tend to take place in the middle, with this giant open expanse here and a few little bits of green cover to cling to. Also thanks to the VP being there, and some pretty major ammunition points just to the side. One of these has a nice little church there that's often rushed to help hold on to this ammo point. Being to the side of the point, it's probably more balanced than a lot of building placements in this game, but this sort of sight blocking cover that's not mirrored on this side probably reduces value to southern players hoping to chuck an MG in there to cover that area. But let's get things underway. So, playing Ostia, we have SturmTigerNinja. And OKW, Sully, so nice mix on the German side and also mix on this side, so we're getting to see all four factions at play today. Should be pretty fun. So here we have Noctamara 667, Nightmare playing USF, and Cruzz as Soviet. Rear echelon pushing over to the side. Probably want to make head up here and try and contest this fuel point, which is probably going to be the one the Germans will most try to hold on to since it's only one connector away. Meanwhile, Cruzz is heading over to the Allied fuel point for this map, with some conscripts to just grab the connector in the meantime. Straight away we already see Sully sending down a truck to do a bit of scouting. SturmTiger's grabbing that fuel, that's going to make that a little bit difficult to capture. OKW definitely have a pretty good immediate early game in this. See conscripts building sandbags but not entirely finishing them off. They do tend to still be pretty good shot blockers, I find. It generally takes a lot of bullets to kill them, you don't generally have to complete them. Probably should actually be a lot more vulnerable to small arms fire while being constructed. That's the way it stands for now. Looks like Sully's pushing Cruzz around a bit here, stopping these conscripts and being able to fire on the stand pioneers. However, this combat engineer squad to the side and a second conscript squad seems to have been able to whittle them down as they stood in a pretty exposed area. Truck looks like it's pushing back. We've got a Koala on the field. So pretty much already forced up one conscript squad and another one there. Just a bit suppressed. These guys, oh no, they actually do want to try and finish off the sandbags. And I think those sandbags were actually cancelled because they took very little damage as far as I could tell. On this side, USF have already managed to capture this fuel and barely seem to be contested about it at all. Just sitting in a nice bit of green cover there. Got some grenadiers sitting in the building here, not generally doing a lot except just protecting this cutoff, but it's a bit pointless when you don't actually own the fuel here. Back here, conscripts have managed to get into the building, so they'll be immune to the effects of suppression. I think we see why the sandbags were destroyed. Basically, crews wanted to deny Sully a bit of green cover to assault this position. However, Volks Grenadiers are able to build their own. That said, they do seem to be taking a fair bit of fire. This unit's not actually behind cover from the angle that Kübelwagen's firing, so they've been forced down. Just moving behind the cover now. Allies control this fuel, but until they have it cut off, they actually won't benefit from it so much, except indirectly. The riflemen have tried to push up into this cut-off, but it's going to be a pretty hard point to assault. As long as these units in the building with an MG42 behind, but that's been forced off. Kübel is still just sitting there. So the cruzz hasn't upgraded to anti-tank grenades and try and flank that. I'm a little surprised those conscripts aren't being sent around there, but I suppose they are able to still fire upon the Kübelwagen from that distance anyway. Although at this point they seem to be focusing on the Volks Grenadiers. USF forces were pushed off from this point, trying to hold up in this building here, which is a pretty useful little building, but it is made of wood, so it can die pretty easily. These conscripts, yeah, I think cruzz was hoping that they'd get a little reprieve from the fire at some point and might stop and suppress, but no such luck. However, a Maxim has arrived on the field and has returned the sentiment to these Volks Grenadiers. Finally, those Volks Grenadiers are pushed off from behind that cover, actually thanks to a nice little flank here. Some conscripts and combat engineers. Stern Pioneers back in the field without actually getting reinforced. And some more Volks Grenadiers forced off. These conscripts looking pretty haggard. USF player has got an M20 on the field. Looks like it's taking a hit from Panzerfaust, but it shouldn't have too much trouble repairing that, as SturmTigerNinja has nothing to support that attack and actually finish off the unit. Generally, Panzerfaust is pretty wasted unless you've got hacks or Panzerschrecks around, or if you just desperately needed to stop this thing chasing you on retreat. Usually better to save the ammunition, tempting as it may be. So the Volks Grenadiers managed to actually get into this building. I'm not sure if we have Molotovs yet. No, we do have a field infirmary research though. So it's the Empires retreating back to the base now that they've captured that fuel. These Volks Grenadiers, only two left in the building, so they're easily just going to get outnumbered, especially with this Maxim behind green cover. So this side of the map will be going to cruzz in the short term. There is still a Kübelwagen there, but I don't imagine there'll be too much trouble in flanking that with this many squads. And of course just assaulting it directly with the Maxim. M20 pushes up into a base, so we've got battle group headquarters set up here. Ooh, M20 gets taken out, drops a bazooka from the crew there. So Grenadiers are moving up to claim that, providing them with some much needed anti-tank or anti-armour ability if any more light vehicles appear on the field. And there's ACC Panzerschrecks going up from Sully there. So we've got a bit of map control definitely in favour of the Allies at the moment. Germans are really just clinging to this one spot, but a battle group headquarters will make them pretty resilient there, giving them both reinforcement and medic healing. Given how defensive Ostia tends to be in the early stages, that's really going to help them. And it'll just help OKW stay on the field with, yep, looks like we've got a forward retreat point there, which makes suppression pretty much a non-issue when pushing out in the field. It will make it a whole lot easier to get these units vetted up, making them a lot more deadly. Riflemen and conscripts just sort of scouting here, I think. Water starting to with them. Obviously there's nothing these units can do against this kind of concentration, especially with an MG42 there. If anything, it's just going to keep the Germans a bit distracted, but really not for long. As it currently stands, Allies have 2 VPs and will have their fuel in a minute. We see a demo charge go down. That might be nice to take out a valuable unit if it tries to steal that fuel pack sneakily. Maxim defending that VP, just assaulting these units as they come out of the base. So the OKW player has completely moved over to this side of the map. They've just given up on the side they were trying to fight before. You see a pack on the field now. I don't think there's any vehicles at the moment coming from USF, a medic truck, but somehow I don't think the medic truck will be trying to charge you here anytime soon. Very forward Schwerer Panzer headquarters going up here. Can probably see the appeal in that that flat cannon will really provide a lot of map control in this area. It's also a very easy position to assault with AT guns, which one of the best ways to take out the Schwerer Panzer headquarters before you can actually get tanks. Since all you have to do is move them up into the maximum range and then just use an attack ground order. And I'm not sure if these have rear and front armor values once deployed, but I sort of feel like the rear side might actually be a bit more vulnerable to hits. That is speculation on my part. Just to be on the safe side, I usually deploy them the other way around, even though it does mean the flat cannon has to turn around a little bit. So airborne chosen by USF. We've got some Pathfinders up here, which is interesting. Pathfinders are sort of pseudo-sniper unit. If they hit a target successfully that's below 40% health, it will count as an instant sniping action. So they can be really effective for just sort of cleaning up squads and getting those squad wipes. They can be also valuable, especially once these guys really start to vet up. We've seen before just how hard it can be to finish off Vet 5 infantry squads sometimes. So Soviets sitting pretty happily here. We see an AT gun and also a Katyusha being built, which is not surprising when you just look at how these German units are clumped. Katyusha is probably the perfect thing to get right now. Be interested to see what sort of carnage gets reached there. USF starting to freeze a bit there. Just running up to the fireplace. Happy to hold on to the fuel for the time being. Germans still really struggling with the map control here. They do have a munitions point, which will help out both of them substantially, both the Panzerschrecks and LMGs. But I'm pretty sure they'd be happy to have fuel as well. And we see our first Ober squad on the field. Definitely a good map for them, being as open as it is. And you can see it's already just whittling that squad down. And Pathfinder's also getting out of there. Riflemen get wiped out. And looks like a bar gets dropped by the Pathfinders there. Many of you have probably seen the video that cruzz actually posted once of Pathfinders with an LMG-34 dropped by Obers. What a killing machine they were. I don't know if it's since been patched how well they operate, but if you can give your Pathfinders an LMG, it's probably worth it. The bar's better than nothing. So we see the Schwerer being discovered by cruzz there. Looks like it's got a minesweeper there. Just wants to make sure there are no mines on the field, I guess. And Ostia making a push over on this side, which is probably a good idea. Sitting over here just wasn't really achieving much. And we can see that there's nothing defending this side of the map now. LMG-42 getting a nice bit of vet for that Grenadier squad out of the building there. Hitting that Maxim from the side. So we've got our first Katyusha barrage coming in. Oh, knocks out a mortar. Of course, that will be pretty easily remanned. Unfortunately, that Katyusha wasn't around when all of those infantry were just clumped. They're much more spread out now, finally being aggressive. A bit of a lob from the USF forces coming up here. It's a bit of a squad wiping lob if I've ever seen one, but about to receive a world of pain from both a Kugel and a Lutz. Pinned and then just cut down. Might see some squad wipes from that Lutz here. Definitely one of the better anti-infantry vehicles in the game. Possibly only the T-70 compares. Yeah, we've got a squad wipe there, including a lost bar. That's going to suck for Notchmare. But this gets a good hit on it. However, the Lutz can take a few hits. More so than flat half-tracks can. Pathfinder's making a push around here, but against both Obers and that 2 Kugel, that's not going to end well. Lieutenant trying to capture fuel, but Lutz has made a comeback. And Lieutenant has nothing to disable that Lutz with, so it's just going to cop a whole lot of flak up the arse the whole way back to base. And they in fact also get wiped. All very low on health, especially running across this road. But we see nice hit from the Zis there, probably just saving it. And Notchman may be able to get that bar back. But we see a bit of a shift now in map control. Germans have all 3 VPs. Finally got their fuel point, 2 munition points, they're going to love that. And looks like they managed to neutralise at least the fuel point over here, but a Maxim is taking that back and not being contested at the moment. And if anybody does try and rush it, that demo might prove useful. Not a lot of kills on the Lutz yet, but we do see a Sherman, often a very common answer, a USF answer to the Lutz. The Lutz is a fairly rushable unit, often good for recovering that sort of map control. But I think we're going to see it fairly balanced out now. There's really nothing the Lutz can do against the armour of even a medium tank. It's not to say it won't be useful later in the game if it can be kept alive though. Alright, we get to see another Katyusha barrage coming in. Kind of being possibly a bit wasted there. It does allow cruzz to recapture that VP, but I'd say there were juicier targets over here. Particularly if you can hit Obersoldaten, that's always a wonderful man drain against OKW. In the meantime, looks like Austere have managed to take this area. Gone by the green cover here, a unit must have been hit. Got a few dead grenadiers on the field. Don't know if I've got a squad wipe, quite possible though. The green cover is going to I think this grenade is fairly resistant there, but ooh, this grenade might bring the building down. Oh, it does! Ah, bad luck for cruzz, losing a whole MG there, on Maxim. And the Lutz is once again wreaking havoc on the field. Some Panzer Shreks and 2 Ober squads just pushing down. That's going to be troublesome. Not a lot to counter that, except for the Sherman. And the Sherman completely routes all of those infantry. Nice work there. Meantime, USF are retaking the side, but they're probably going to get wiped by a grenade. No, oh. Well, I move away, take a lot of damage though. That can be repaired back at base. Looks like Lutz probably took an AT grenade, but managed to limp way back to base. Standpires will have that thing back in the fight within mere seconds. Crazy repair machines that they are. So, Allies, yeah, still not looking very good now. So they've got fuel and a VP, but Don't know how well they can defend that at the moment. The tennis squad, not really in a great position there. Shooting from the side, so it doesn't really have the benefit of cover. These ogres are going to make life very difficult for any infantry that try to push up here. We see some doctrine choices here. Close air support, frost here. That should definitely help out with the ammunition situation. And special operations doctrine, what I do like. Right, if you're trying to use ogres in a sort of crowded area with lots of cover, if you can afford the ammunition, there's infrared STG-44s that negate a lot of the effects of cover, which is wonderful. And of course you probably get slightly better DPS up close. It looks like the Sherman has been joined on the field by a Scot. Probably in response to all these ogres running amok. Still not many kills on... Oh! Looks like this pack manages to take out the Sherman. Oh, that's very unfortunate. The Sherman was keeping USF on the field. Not amazingly, still better than nothing. Ooh, looks like the flamethrower explodes for that squad, however the last man does manage to retreat. It's a good thing since it does have Vet 2, which will make it very useful for repairing faster. So the Allies are consolidating. Switch sides of the map a bit. See cruzz, just chucking some mines down. You never know when a mine will prove useful. And we see also a demo charge here. Just in case those OKW blobs decide to push in again. Looks like the fuel point for Allies is getting cut off by a Panzer Grenadiers squad. Nothing really around to challenge that. USF kind of blobbing up on the side.
A Panther has arrived from the fatherland. Ready for orders.
And we see a Panther Panzer on the field. At this point, not the most useful unit, since the Allies don't really have any tanks worth mentioning after that Sherman got destroyed. If this thing can flank the Scot, that will no doubt prove very useful. But it's probably a relatively steep investment for just that. Well, of course, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't mind taking out this Katyusha here as well. Let's see where that's firing. Once again, just firing on this MG42 covering the VP. Not getting a lot of hits on it. Yeah, I'm not sure that Katyusha is really being used to its full potential here. I mean, I guess there aren't that many bunched up infantry anymore. At least pushing away that MG does allow them to potentially capture the VP and slow down that train. Scott getting some hits on expensive overs there, knocking that squad down to 1. These Panzerschrecks nearly overwhelm it. One more hit, and that Scott was definitely going down. But, oh, total squad wiping hit. Very nice there. Luke's now up to Vet 2, gaining improved man gun accuracy and rate of fire. Not that it needed it. I guess they won't be complaining. We see another Panther on the field, this time a Command Panther. Pretty useful. And sort of gives buffs to all sorts of armour nearby. And if you can get up to Vet 5, will actually provide those buffs to any unit, including infantry apparently. And that, with a Vet 5 OKW blob is probably something to see. Very nice use of barrage with the Zist there from cruzz. Nearly annihilates an Oba squad. Finishing off that would have been a real feather in his cap. You can see that Panther I mentioned before just really has nothing to do. It's just kind of sitting there. He's upgraded with an MG, but doesn't even have infantry to fight. Allies are really being forced away here. But we finally see something for it to do. Looking up on the field, the old ISU 152, once a very, very common sight. It was something of a no-brainer to build. In response to that, many calls for a nerf, and it now has to switch between armor-piercing and high-explosive rounds, depending on whether you want to kill tanks or infantry, which probably makes it a much more tolerable unit. They're still pretty good at knocking out infantry. However, probably being overextended slightly, considering that there is a Panther there. I see some shock troops pushing up. Should make good work of the SturmTigerNinja. Nice. Oh, squad nearly wiped out there. This is a strafing run coming in. Panther comes on the side, getting the hit on that Scott. That's going to have a lot of trouble getting away. No, it is gone. And the ICU 152 can't do anything against that Panther because it is currently on HE rounds. Takes it about a good 12 seconds to reload. Oba's just desperately trying to hold on to that fuel point. Oh, nearly squad wiped by the ISU. Looks like OKW have popped some flares, one of the very useful abilities of Special Ops. And a bit of teamwork there. It's allowing close air support to do its thing and try and knock it out. Ooh, double hit. Unfortunately, Cruzz was most certainly paying attention and got that thing out of there straight away. USF finally managing to reclaim the left. So we've got Vet 5 Volks Grenadiers there, but can't do much against all of these bars. This Major probably not going to fare too well against both Obas and that untouchable Lukes. That thing is just staying in the game. Command Panther probably will give it a few little buffs as well. Bit of movement in sight. Help it realise the full potential of that crazy autocannon. See an AT gun. Pushing up here, it's got armor-piercing rounds enabled. Gets a nice hit on the Lukes. Doesn't quite manage to finish it off though, and I think that Lukes is getting out of there now. Oh, tries to get one last hit, but the Lukes manages to escape. Jackson, just kind of sitting here, good deterrent against Panthers, but not really being used at this point. Probably would have been good to support that AT gun, which I think just got destroyed. Oh no, just got pushed back. So we see Allied forces really combining on this one side. They just want to at least hold on to this fuel and this VP, gain a bit of a foothold. Fortunately, they have been challenged from very nearby by a much stronger defensive setup. Not a lot happening while this blizzard is raging on. We'll see. Alright, see the smoke round come out, which works very similar to White Phosphorus, just taking infantry down to about 1 HP, never actually killing them. It also makes them very slow, and of course when you combine 1 HP and slow with Obas, that usually means a dead unit pretty quickly. Panther getting a nice long distance hit against this ISU here, which is still on HE rounds, and also on a focus sight, which meant it was moving much more slowly than normal and was not able to escape these dual Panthers. That's a very expensive mistake there for cruzz, unfortunately. We also see a Jagdpanzer. Don't often see these, but on an open map like this, they're actually a highly effective unit, very hard to kill, and have quite a good gun. And much more affordable than the Panther. Looks like we get another Stuka dive bomb coming in. Oh, devastates a whole lot of infantry, lots of little pieces all over the place there. And it looks like that was all the Allies could take. Alright, so we saw a fair bit of a shift in this. Obviously the Allies definitely had the best early game map control, which is fairly common, especially since these German players were consolidating pretty much over this one side once OKW was pushed back over here. And yeah, that sort of synergy with these med trucks can really work wonders in keeping those units on the field and getting them some pretty juicy vet. Yeah, I think looks like we lost the Katyusha at some point. It's unfortunate because that unit had a lot of potential when it was being built. With all those infantry just sitting there, a good strike would have almost ended the game right then and there. I think at some point some AT guns were moved up to take this out, but they were forced back by infantry, unfortunately. Yeah, so see some good saving up with the armoured Panthers on both sides, which was a bit of an interesting move given the lack of allied armour. Interesting that cruzz pretty much saved up. Didn't really actually see any other tanks. Su-85s on this map would have been fairly effective, especially against those Panthers. I guess the ISU was probably in response to all of those infantry blobs running around, because when it comes to those high efficiency OKW blobs, you really just do want a nice bit of high explosive fighting power to just knock them out of the game as soon as possible. And once you push them back, it would prove quite effective against these buildings. Still, good resilience by the German players there. Bad luck to the Allies. Good try though. There's some good units there, but yeah, just a little difficulty keeping them alive, especially against Panthers pretty much being able to run all over the place. And nice work with the Lukes that just stayed on the field forever. There he is. Good on you, Lukes. Alright, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.